Hey folks, ssjpacman here, bringing you another tech review. Today we're going to be talking about the ASRock Master x470 AC SLI motherboard. This motherboard supports polychrome RGB. It is designed for Ryzen processors, the 2000 series specifically. It is the x470 chipset. It does both SLI and Crossfire. It has AC Wi-Fi, which you can see here in the back. See the little antenna sticking out? That is the AC Wi-Fi. It has RGB lights down here at the very bottom, well, where the chipset would be. There's RGB lighting there. I have it set to gray because it matches my overall theme here, which is gray and black case, or gray and black themed, Corsair specifically. And it doesn't support any GPP products. This is a 970, so that was before the GPP came out. I know it's ended and everything, but that's besides the point. So back to the motherboard. It supports dual channel memory, four slots, but only 2 of the slots will run at the rated speed of the RAM, from what I can tell. I had it in the other 2 slots. This is in the 2nd and 4th position from the CPU. Those are the ones that are rated for high-speed RAM. The other 2 don't seem to be rated for high-speed RAM from what I can figure out. I do have my RAM clocked at 3200 with good timings. I've had this RAM clocked all the way to 3600 on this motherboard, but I got worse results in Cinebench than with good timings at 3200, so back to the good timings at 3200. It does have a 12-phase power supply with doubling scheme there. You can see that there are 6 of those chips there. I'm not exactly sure what they are. I just know that it has doubling scheme and that a lot of boards don't support. I had previously talked about the sound isolation in my unboxing and overview of this. I did not notice that it is missing one of the capacitors that you would have if this was the Taichi Ultimate or the Taichi, so that is different. Also, there's an extra PCI Express port if it is the Taichi or Taichi Ultimate. Does have 2 M.2 ports. There's one down here and a second up here with the cooler. From what I understand, it does work. This board doesn't come with a CMOS reset. The only way to reset the CMOS is from down here using a jumper that isn't provided. Now, you could use a screwdriver, but I don't recommend that. I would like them to provide a jumper. That's what I'd like to see next time for this. At least just provide the CMOS clear button. It literally costs 2 cents extra. It's just a quality of life feature. And this board being exclusive for Newegg, it's supposed to be a better quality board for the cheaper price. So let's not cheap out on the 2 cent part. We can cheap out in other places, like you'll see in a little bit. You know, one of the places being that you're not going to get 4 high-speed RAM, from what I understand, on like the Corsair or Asus Crosshair 6, Crosshair Hero 6. You do get where you can have 4 sticks of RAM at high speed. So that is something. The I/O shield on this is nothing to speak of. I think the Fatality and the Taichi Ultimate have lighting here and also here that you don't get on this board, which is fine with me. I didn't want RGB all that much, so that's definitely not something important to me. The CMOS button was way more important to me. I think that's about it as far as on the actual motherboard. The motherboard is solid. I'm really pleased with the quality of the motherboard in those aspects. When we come over to the BIOS, you'll see a little bit more of what I'm talking about, things that I think that they cheaped out, are quality of life things that they have chosen to leave off. So let's step over to the BIOS. Alright, here we are at the BIOS. Main screen, UFI, x470 SLI AC, P1. So I have updated this BIOS once before to 1.1, which is a beta BIOS currently, as of the 9th. But I experienced some major slowdowns once I changed the BIOS. which turns out is normal, at least for this board. I've not had any other boards do exactly this, but for the first couple of resets, the board runs way slow, weirdly slow. So, in fact, I switched the BIOS back to 1.0 thinking that it was a bad BIOS, but it turns out that that's just what this board does, because it did the exact same thing on the 1.0 BIOS again. Now, since then, everything is cleared up. It's not been a problem, but I did have to reset a total of 4 times before it didn't take 10-15 minutes to boot into Windows, and that's off of an SSD, so something funny about that. But so that's our BIOS revision. I have the Ryzen 7 2700X 8-core processor. It's running at 3700 according to this, and that's because I have it set to auto. L3 cast, yada yada yada. It tells you everything about your processor. It tells you what slots they're in. So you want to be an A2 and B2 on this board to get the high speed RAM. You can see here it's running at DDR4 3200. And then the next tab over is AC Tweaker or OC Tweaker. It natively comes in the ASRock setting, which just the only difference between ASRock and the AMD BIOS is that it gives you the ability to change CPU frequency. And XRP, I think you can change it gives you the ability to change the frequency, not just the XMP ratio, or XMP profile. I haven't had any luck getting my CPU to overclock on this board to 4.2. I can do it in Ryzen Master, but I can throw all the voltage in the world at it, and I can't get 4.2 on all cores on this board stable for some reason. I can't find anything for load line calibration. There's not a whole lot of information out there about it. Some of these do have these little QR codes right here. I haven't tried to check out the QR codes to see if they do anything. I do know that I tracked out a QR code on something else, the Ryzen processor, and it basically was nothing. It took me to a stupid page. So I haven't checked out those. I do know ASRock, I spoke to them about the BIOS issue, and they were actually really quick to the phone and helpful. So I'm sure I could call them and ask them about some of these additional settings here. This VTT_DDR, I'm assuming that's a RAM voltage. I've tried messing with the DRAM voltage. It doesn't seem to stick. This 2.50 prom voltage, I can't find any information about it, or this plus 1.8 voltage. I saw some people talking about something with a plus 1.8 voltage for older x470 boards, but nothing about on this. Or this VDDP voltage, which is, I'm hoping, like V-Droop. I would really like to change the voltages for these. I'm pretty sure I could get a much more stable overclock if this board told me what they do, but it just says configure the voltage for the VDDP, or configure the voltage for the 1.8 voltage, or configure the voltage for the 2.5 volt prom voltage. So there's not a whole lot of information there on what they do. And then it has some profile settings, and so like I could save this. Let's go save user profile 1, and then we do like 2700X good times, enter, and it saves. So that's pretty cool. On the advanced, I've seen some people coming in here, turning off cool and quiet. I think those are guys from the old FX days. I leave it on as far as it goes. I see people messing with the C6 mode. I haven't seen any crazy results from any of that stuff. I did see a guy come in here to this Zen Common options, and he went to one of these and changed it, which is like, it was like a percentage rather than an actual voltage number. I have to go back and look at the video. So I feel like there's some overclocking options missing here. Load line calibration, I haven't seen anything for. I guess that's the big one that I want. Some other people mentioned some stuff. It's not so much of an issue with Ryzen Master, but Ryzen Master doesn't automatically start. Just VTT mem. Just VTT mem stepping is VDDIO. Yeah, I don't know what any of that stuff is. This is the one. Just 1.8. And then he changed this value to like 32 or something like that. Cancel. But I haven't messed with any of that. I haven't had any problem using Ryzen Master. On this motherboard, I did not see a whole lot of AMD overclocking itself on its own. Thinking about switching this board out for the Taichi just to see if there's any differences in the BIOS. I really don't want to buy anybody else's product because of the GPP stuff. I know that it's over, quote unquote, but you know, Asus already rebranded their graphics card division, so I'm pretty sure that they're in NVIDIA's pocket pretty hard. And I don't want any part of being in NVIDIA's pocket. I don't have a problem buying their stuff secondhand, but I won't support the GPP stuff. So it does have some cool tools on here. Flashing the BIOS with Instant BIOS is easy as can be. They also have this internet flash. Oh, come on, thing. I don't want you to do this right now. I should not have clicked on that, apparently. ASRock Internet flashes, downloads, and updates the latest UFA BIOS firmware from our own servers. Please set up the network configuration before using the internet flash. Your firmware is up to date. So, cool. I think that that'll be a really neat feature. They haven't come out with a new BIOS that automatically does it off of here, so I can't test it. Their hardware monitor is okay. Everything looks fine here. Like I said, I just wish I knew what some of these things were better. I wish that they had some sort of explanation. They do have this couple of different fan settings for CPU fan, silent mode, performance mode, full speed. I'm not using a CPU fan. I have a water cooler on it. They also have this fantastic tuning here. So you can change your settings as far as up and down on your fans based on temperatures, which is pretty cool. So I just have them set to full speed, and that's good enough for me. In the security, you can change a password and stuff like that. I don't mess with any of that. You have your standard boot options, so you can change how your boot setup loads. They're all pretty standard stuff. So I'm just going to hit escape, discard changes, yes. And here we'll load into Windows. I'll show you running at 4.2 under these timings. And then I'll ask ASRock, how come I can't do this from the motherboard? What am I doing wrong? Explain to me what these voltages do. Don't just have a stupid thing that says the exact same thing as it says in the BIOS as the BIOS description. Apparently Windows thinks that I've crashed. I've messed up my computer, but it's all fine. On this motherboard, Windows seems to think after 3 hard resets from overclocking that Windows has failed, so it will ask you to check it out. There's never anything wrong. I just have to restart. So that's one thing I can say that's good. I have yet to have to reset the CMOS. This board seems to pretty much not care what I throw at it. It will try to run it, and it'll get me into Windows every time. Like, I can get into Windows at 4.2 on it, but I just can't run Cinebench. And from what I've determined on this processor, if it can run a run of Cinebench, it can run anything. I've left it mining. It mines all the time unless I'm at work, or unless I'm at home playing video games. So let's just do a quick Ryzen Master. Okay. Profile 1. I have this at 4.31 to keep the voltage stable. Hit apply. Go to current. We're at 4.20 across the board. Close this here. We'll open CPU Z so you can see that the timings are what I said they are, which is 14, 15, 15, 15, or 14, 15, 15, 34, 54. Now, these RAM timings should be 16, 18, 18, 36 at this speed, 3200, which is what they're rated for, and the board's running it, so that's really crucial. I've seen my score very close to people with 4.4 gigahertz overclocks on these 2700Xs. So good RAM timings are really crucial. They can make up for clock speed. So yeah, we're at 14, 15, 15, 34. So I'm pretty pleased with the board on this. I actually had a lot of trouble getting RAM to overclock on previous Intel products and boards made for Intel CPUs. I just can't get them to ever overclock the RAM. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so let's run the Cinebench. Now there is a way to get a little bit better score on Cinebench. Oh, damn it. This is something I've had a little bit of finickiness with. Day to day, getting this 4.2 overclock to stick on the Cinebench has been a bit of a problem. I don't know why. So that's the same overclock as I had the day before. But it's like, since I decided to try to overclock it from the ASRock from the motherboard or from the BIOS, now Ryzen Master doesn't want to do that speed either. I don't know what to make of that. That's a little bit of an anomaly. We'll see if it runs this time. If it doesn't, then y'all saw what happened. You know, I'm not trying to cut this video together to make it appear like something that's not. And I think I am probably going to pick up that Taichi motherboard and just see if there's any difference or if it's just my processor. But a little bit aggravated about this 4.2 changing from day to day. Okay, it's applied. And Cinebench. Froze again. So, wow. That's what I have to say on the subject. Good looking board. Overclocks. Okay. It will get your RAM overclocked as long as you have Samsung B-Die. As far as CPU overclocks, I don't know. I'm going to try out the Taichi. From what I hear, it's a 16-phase power supply for the CPU, so that'd be a little bit better. My power supply does not have the additional 4-pin that the board supports, so you can have 12-pin going to this processor, but I don't have anything that'll support it. So If you like the video, like it, subscribe. There'll be a lot more coming. I've got some major comparisons to come between my 2500K from 6 years ago compared to my Ryzen 7. Some gaming performance, some synthetic benchmarks, and my overall thoughts on it. You know, this board, not too bad. For the price, it's really good. As long as you're not trying to get above 4.2 gigahertz on your overclock, I wouldn't worry about it. This is a good board to buy, especially if you're looking for the AC Wi-Fi. I really have no interest in that. It just seems like all the boards come with it these days. So that's that. I'll see you in the next video.